Right, so hopefully it would get recorded. So let's see. It's a good suggestion, Abhishek. Thanks. So, mhm. So guys, if anyone would like to have a chat, we have roughly 7-8 minutes. So if anyone would like to have a chat, yeah, you can just write down in the chat box, and we can have a chat, right? So just let me know. If you can just let me know in the chat box from which part of India you guys are joining. That also would be something I would be eager to know. Naveen, okay. Hi Naveen, you're from New Delhi, okay. And guys, as I mentioned, if it's not too much of an inconvenience for you, please switch on the video. At least 1-2 guys switch on so that it makes sense for me to speak. Otherwise, I just see a blank screen with the names written over here. So that really doesn't motivate me. Yeah, hi Sai, how are you? No, it's for lifetime, Abhishek. It's for lifetime. Hmm. So guys, how many of you are joining this webinar for the first time? Uh, have you joined earlier webinars as well? So for Monica, it's the first time, okay? As well for analytics. Yeah, if you are getting into the analytics piece of it, Abhishek, you need to know Python, yeah. Hmm. If you are trying to get into the analytics side of it, Abhishek, right? But if you are trying to be in the analysis side of it, then you don't need to know Python and all this, right? So there are two sides of the story. Sarita first time, Vivek first time, okay. Mhm. So guys, just let me know which part of India you are joining from, or India or outside India, because many guys are there in the group uh, who stays outside India as well, right? Yeah, Abhishek, I know, yeah. Uh, Mumbai, Monica, Mumbai, okay. Khushbu, Delhi. Ongole, okay. And who is joining for the second time or third time? So this is the fourth webinar I'm conducting uh, recently, right? So who is joining for, like, it's not the first time for you, it's joining for the second or third time. Who is like this? Me, okay. So Sai, I hope you have benefited are you been getting benefited through this webinars? Just let me know of your Suparna also, I think you are joining multiple times, right? Yeah. So Suparna, are you benefiting from this webinars? Just let me know. Kushbu, you're joining for the first time. Okay. We second. Okay. You're getting good knowledge. Okay. Yeah. Suparna. Right. So just don't acquire knowledge. So then there is something called, which is a very new term which has come up, which is called the webinar junkie, right? So don't be a webinar junkie in the process. Ensure whatever you are learning, not just for the sake of uh, gathering knowledge, but um, in terms of I give few implementation steps as well, so that you take the trouble to learn something in the process in a uh, at a practical level, right? So take those measures. That is also very important, right? Otherwise, just joining doesn't help. Guys who have just joined, just let me know which part of India you are joining from. So shall I also keep my video off today? Because I don't see anyone is switching on the video, right? Okay, Sai, yeah, yeah. So guys, if anyone faces challenge, as someone is mentioning that I send some mails which gets inconvenient to, so there is an unsubscribe button over there. So please unsubscribe yourself from there, or otherwise just revert to that mail and request us to unsubscribe. We'll do it for you, right? So guys, let's wait for 1-2 more minutes. In the meantime, if you can just let me know which part of India you are joining from. Just let me know which part of India you are joining from. Okay, so Harish is from Pune. Monica, I am presently based out of Kolkata. Okay. Shilpa is from Pune. Okay. Orko is from Kolkata. Okay. Uh, Rishikesh is from Pune. Okay. Right. So guys, I hope you are aware of the subject on which we intend to discuss today. And so there, Rupak is from Rohtak. Okay. Right. So we are intending to discuss on, hi Abhishek. So we are intending to discuss on uh, the aspect of project financing and how one can relate to that to make a career in the investment banking space. Right. So how many of you are really geared up to know more on this? Just give me a quick yes, guys. Just give me a quick yes if you are, right? Excited to know about this space, right? So any one of you who is actually in this space at this point of time, who is into the project financing space in some way or the other, is someone out here who is in this space? Give me a I or A or something, right? So dealer is not into project financing. So Sarita, right? So How many of you? Okay, so I'll ask you to type some alphabet so that I understand that you are. If I just say yes or no, then I may not be able to interpret, right? So, guys, how many of you have a clear understanding as to what, or rather, let me ask you, how many of you do not have an understanding as to what project financing is all about? Just give me a say a so that I understand that okay, these are the guys who don't have a understanding as to what project financing is all about. So Avi says A, Sai Kumar says A, Arun says A, Shilpa says A, Joel says A, Abbas says A, Himani says A, Anil says A, Rupak says A. Okay. And the again the same request, guys. It's 9, so we I've started on, right. So my request, if it's not if it is not too much of an inconvenience for you, if you can switch the video so that we can it makes me a bit comfortable to speak rather than speaking on a screen just with the names written over, right. So Himani says A, Anil says A, Rupak says A, Monica says A, Khushbu says A. Okay, so there are quite a number of guys, right, who has no understanding as to what project financing is all about. Okay, on the contrary, let me ask you, who um, uh, who are the persons who know what project financing is? Give me a B in the chat box, guys. Just give me a B in the chat box. Who knows what project financing is all about? Navin says B. Okay. Aman says B. Okay. Hitesh says B. Right. Ankit says B. Okay. Great. Suparna says B. Okay, great. So, guys, the set of people who Sarita says B. Okay. So, guys, who is mentioning B? Just if you can write in one line, what is it that you'd like to know from this webinar? Because you already have some understanding as to what project financing is. So, if you can just let me know in one line as to what would be that thing that you'd like to uh, get to know from this webinar, so that it makes more it's more effective for you, right? So that's the end objective. So so you can type, and in the meantime, let me just share across the uh, I mean to say, let me share the screen, right? Okay, guys, so I hope you are able to see the screen, guys. Just give me a quick yes if you are. Just if you're able to see the PPT, right? Hi, Rajat. Good evening. Hi, 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 hi. Right, right, guys. So, so guys, as I mentioned, the topic of today's discussion is how to make a career in the investment banking space through project financing and how they're interrelated, right? So that is something which I would like to discuss today. Now, uh, guys, what is project financing in the first place, right? So to keep it very simple, guys, if you don't if you can just stop from just drawing those marks and all, right? So guys, what is project financing? So if you must have come across say a steel factory, right, or a cement factory, or say a hotel or a hospital or a real estate, right? So these are these are projects, right? Projects in the sense that it's like it was a project at a point of time when people have thought about that this sort of a factory I'll be uh, creating, right? Maybe the entrepreneur has decided that I'll set up a factory over here at some place, right? And when that person has envisioned that, so that person obviously would be requiring money for that. So and you understand there's a lot of money that one requires, and that person may not have all the money with him or her. So what they do is they go to the banks directly, or they take help of some investment banks in the process who helps them raise these funds, right? So this process, which really takes up for this individual to really reach out to the banks and raise finance for themselves, is called project financing, right? And now then project financing has various nature to it that I'll discuss in some time. But is is this part clear, especially for guys who have no sense as to what project financing is all about? Give me a quick yes, guys, if this basic understanding is clear to you. Arun says yes, Avi says yes. Okay, what about others, guys? Did you get the meaning as to how, where this word project finance come from, right? So essentially there is some factory, there is some property which comes up, and for which a person is looking for finance, and then they go to the financial institutions asking for the finance, right? So this is where it starts. So we address the first part of it, that is what is project financing. Now let us understand that there are different types of projects for which this financing may be required, right? And so what are those different set of projects for which financing may be required? Can someone write down in the chat box? Uh, do someone has an understanding as to what are the different set of projects for which? So Rajat, you are mentioning. Let me. There are some guys for whom I okay. I hope you are able to, others are able to see the message, guys. Are you able to see the other guy's message as well? Just let me know. No? Okay. Okay. Now are you able to see? Just check, guys. Yes, you're able to see now. Kavita says no. Okay. I'm also slowly getting a hand on this. Some people are saying yes, 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 yes. Right, right. So guys, just let me know. So Rajat was mentioning something as commercial, residential. So guys, Rajat especially, that is in context of real estate, right? So what you said is right. So if it is in context of real estate projects, then it may be a residential project, it may be a commercial project, right? But then let us take into consideration factories. So to make get a broader understanding into this thing, right? So what are the different set of projects? So IT development of a platform, no, I'm not speaking in that context. I have given you a sense what I'm speaking of, Rajat, over here on. So Avi says real estate, defense. So yeah, it may be across different industries, but I'm not speaking about what are the different industries where this project may be commissioned. I'm trying to understand what are the different types of projects, right? So Payal says to expand operations. Yeah, that is one part of it. Uh, Aman, kindly broadcast this webinar. So Aman, what happens is I'm not, some people are requesting me to record and share it in the other platforms or make a direct this thing. So the challenge is people do not join at that point of time. So that is the problem. And if I'm not interacting, then the objective of this webinars, then it doesn't stand. So that is the challenge. So that is the reason I'm not really sharing stuff. Navin R&D, okay. So okay, I'll explain. Debt finance is if it is something that they are raising finance from the banks, that is obviously debt finance, Tripti. Uh, Abbas, yeah, the objective may be to add new product lines, absolutely correct. But then I'm trying to understand what are the different types of projects on which the company look for financing, right? So raising capital would also come in project. Yeah, so Rajat, this raising capital, this when you are raising capital for say starting on with a setting up a factory, that is obvious, that is what project financing is all about, right? That is what I explained. Set up an industry, you don't set up an industry, you set up a Harish industry is the term is used in context of say steel industry. You don't set up an industry per se, you set up a factory, right? So that's the right word. Aman, diversification is definitely one of the funding for bio research. That may be one of the objectives, but that doesn't fall under the broader head of this thing, right? Working capital management may be one of the type of funds that they are looking for. So, so over here that raises a good point. Thanks, CA Rishikesh Kotavalle. So, guys, there are two types of finance one looks for. This set of like. Uh, when one is raising finance to say set up a factory, suppose you visualize that you are the owner, you are trying to set up a steel factory somewhere in say a place called Giridih in in say Jharkhand, and there, say, some good coal fields are there for which you have it's a, say, a suitable place for say a factory to come up, a steel factory to come up, right? Now when you do so, you obviously require finance, right? And for that, the set of finance that you require may be of two natures. One is the term loan, for with which you would be purchasing the different equipments for the factory and setting up the factory premise. And there is the working capital financing also for the daily operations. I'll show you a financial model also in this context, so you'll get a better understanding of things. For acquiring fixed assets or for working capital, Saurav, absolutely correct. Naveen, through VC debt financing. Yeah, so in the project financing space, Naveen, is primarily debt financing. VCs do not extend finance to this set of such nature of companies, right? So issue bonds for meeting their project fund. Tripti, yeah, the government may issue bonds. Obviously, government may issue bonds, but I'm not. If I go to the government side of discussion, then many other things also come into play. Just keep it simple for better understanding for most of us. Is that this is for guys who say, I am intending to set up a factory, and the factory setup cost, say, is of 400 crores, and for which I'm looking for finance, and this is about it, right? So so I hope this is clear till this point of time. So let us understand the different types of projects, right? So guys, the first type of project which we come across is called the greenfield project. Okay, now what is meant by greenfield project is that the factory is like where it is going to come up, it's a barren land over there, right? So it's green field, means it's barren land. There's nothing, there is no construction which is done. So construction is happening on the green field and unused land. It is not constrained by any prior work. So there is no prior work that has actually taken place. Abbas infrastructure project is also coming under project financing, but it's of a different nature, right? So infrastructure involves where, say, you are coming up with roads or highways, or say what you call the flyovers and all. Those are actually fall under the purview of infrastructure project. But obviously it is a section of project financing, definitely, right? So so this is one type of project which we guys, are you clear on as to what greenfield project is all about? Just give me a quick yes, guys, if you are clear on this, what is greenfield project, right? Right, okay, okay. Okay, so the next one is the brownfield project. So one is called greenfield, the other is brownfield project. Now, why it is called brownfield? Brownfield because there had been some structure which has been, say, built. So there may be an existing setup which is already there. There is an existing factory which is there, and say for better the need of the product which is being manufactured, there's a greater demand for that product, and for which there is an additional requirement of new line of production, right? So for which the company is trying to expand the present project, right? So this is where we use the term brownfield project, right? So there is already a structure in place and it is modified or upgraded, right? Give me a quick A, guys, if it is if you're clear about what is a brownfield project. Rajat, if it's demolished and rebuilt, then also it's brownfield? Rajat, yeah, you may say so, because greenfield generally is a term which is uh, levied on those set of scenarios where it is totally barren land and where from the construction has taken place. Because if we're demolishing also something, right, there's a cost attached to this, that, right? So so that has to be also accounted for when the financial model is getting built, right? Factory upgradation, yeah, absolutely, right? So brownfield and IT projects mean migrating from one software to another. Yeah, so maybe that is in context of IT projects, but we are speaking over here about the fixed properties. Renovation of old monuments is part of this. Tripti, good question. I really haven't really not thought about, because I've never worked on any project where we are doing renovation, financing for renovations per se. But then if it is something which where there has been a construction where because when you are doing renovation, I believe there would be some sort of reconstruction that has to be right. So that would definitely fall under the purview of brownfield project. See, you need not be very sacrosanct as to why it's a greenfield is a brownfield. Mota mota samajh lo to theek hai, right? Matlab, don't be too fidgety on these terminologies. I'm just introducing you to the set of things, and you'll appreciate more as I discuss more, right? So I hope you are getting a sense of what I'm trying to place across. The third nature of project which we get to understand is called diversification project. So where when a manufacturer offers more than one product, it may be both related or unrelated diversification projects. So some projects the terminology which is used is called diversification project. So suppose if the company is manufacturing biscuits and then they go into some sort of, say, um, uh, biscuits of some say using milk products or something of a nature of biscuit, or of a different composition, right? So that is a related diversification. Now from biscuits, if they go into manufacturing of this say a Maggie or a noodle sort of product, right? So that is going to be an unrelated diversification, right? So not into different sectors, but in the same sector in different products, Prem Kumar, right? So that is what diversification projects actually mean in this context of project financing. Then comes expansion project. So expansion project is where you are increasing the present capacity of the plant. So see, these terminologies are not mutually exclusive of each other, right? So it may be a greenfield project, but it may be expansion project. How the company may have a factories somewhere else, right? Where they don't have further land where they can come up with the production. So they have acquired a new land, which is a greenfield, and they are expanding the lines, right? So that may be one way. And the other thing is that it may be a brownfield project, like so already there is some construction, there is a factory which is running, and they have land where they can expand their production lines. So that is, so it is both a brownfield project as well as an expansion project. So it may be a brownfield project and a diversification project, right? So it's not different from each other. So I hope you're getting the uh, understanding, right? So give me a quick A, guys, in the chat box if you're understanding what I'm trying to place across, right? Right, guys. Thanks for the responses. So expansion project, increasing the present capacity of the plant for the current product. It generally happens when there is a growth in market demand or the company anticipates the growth in demand of the product, and it happens either by addition of additional lines to augment the present capacity, or acquisition or other organization in the same line of business. Then comes modernization project. So it involves evolution of technology. So maybe a factory is running in a certain way over a period of time, but then due to some advanced technology which has come up, which may bring about efficiency and effectiveness in the entire production setup. So for that the company may be required to be more competitive in the market, and do at a better cost, so that they have better margins to, or maybe passing on the benefit of cost to the end consumers, and that's how attracting more customers, right? So that may be when that sort of a project gets commissioned, it is called a modernization project. So it generally happens when a product becomes obsolete or some process to manufacture the same becomes obsolete. Kindly rolled out modernization policy, must be, Navin. I'm not aware of that, right? So this is another type of project which is referred to. Sorry, two slides have come up on the same thing, right? And the last one is called the replacement project. So where Replacement is what? It involves replacing old machinery with new machinery. This may happen on account of aging or wear and tear of machinery. It generally happens to reduce the maintenance costs and attain the same or more operational efficiency, right? So these are the general terms which you would be coming across when you'd be working in this space. Now let us, it is just to give you a first-hand understanding as to what the world of project financing is like, just to give you that flavor, right? But then why we have joined this webinar, we are trying to understand how we can make a career in the investment banking space and how this is related to, right? So essentially, guys, just give me a second. So right. So the thing is, guys, if you have attended my webinar earlier, where I spoke about the different sections around investment banking, if you have not, don't worry. So there is one section in investment banking which is called the fundraising section. Okay. Now fundraising may happen for a company may be looking for funds for running their company operations, or they may be looking for funds for commissioning some new project, right? Or they may be looking for funds, as I said, from a term loan perspective or working capital perspective, or they may be eager to raise funds from the equity, maybe offering some IPO or FP or something like that, right? So there may be different areas in which fundraising may happen. So one of those area which falls under broader bucket of fundraising is project financing, right? Where you help companies raise finance the uh, for the projects that are coming up, right? So that may be a factory, that may be a hospital, hotel, resort, real estate, anything. So guys, do you see the question that I'd like to place across, do you think, say, first of all, do you think that a guy who, say, is looking for, say, 4 to 500 crores to start a project, whom they go to say, because there would be a lot of work, they may be great in production of steel, but they may not have understanding of raising finance in the right manner, right? So they may require help of someone. So who do you think they go to ask for, seek help for raising this, say, 500 crores? Just let me know in the chat box, guys. So Abhishek says VC or angel investors. I'll come back to you, Abhishek, on this. Prem Kumar, merchant banker, you have uh, placed the right term, I should say. Established investment banks. So do you have some names in mind whom they go for? If you have some names in mind of some companies whom they may go to, just if you can write down in the chat box. Uh, Someone says JP Morgan, EY, Big Four, KKR, Goldman Sachs. I really don't understand what is the fetish for Goldman Sachs, for big banks. So guys who have joined my webinars earlier, they are making some sense. Yeah, right. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. Okay, okay. Edelweiss. Okay, okay. Right, guys. Thanks for the responses. So guys, please understand that this set of companies uh, who is operating out of, say, Bihar, that guy is not going to come to Mumbai and they are going to sit across with the Goldman Sachs or the Lehman Brothers or the big names, right? And this 400-500 crores of transaction is not very attractive for that big an organization, right? So I hope. you're getting some message in the process, right? So what I'm trying to say, guys, investment banking doesn't only mean Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley and these names. Please come out of that mindset or that orientation that somehow has been placed across to you guys through the media channels, through the set of books that you read and stuff like that, right? So please come out of that, because there is a bigger area of operations in the investment banking arena, which happens, which is not really been worked on by the biggest of names, right? So Goldman Sachs and all, they would be working for projects of 10,000 crores, 20,000 crores, uh, bigger mandates, bigger projects, right? So for the rest of the guys, as I mentioned earlier also, whoever has joined my webinar earlier, that there are three segments in which you can divide, right? So you have the largest of companies, then you have the mid-sized companies, and then you have the smaller companies. So smaller, which we call the boutique investment banks, or in Indian context, the term which is widely used is called the merchant banks, right? So a typical example may be a Edelweiss, as someone mentioned over here. So one may reach out to that sort of a company. So O3 Capital. There are number of, especially companies which ends with capital and they are into the space of fundraising. They are the ones which these companies would reach out to, because please understand, when these companies are working with this, like I mean to say, this company who is looking for finance is working with these companies who is going to help them raise the finance. They are also looking to their existing relationship with the local bankers over there, right? So because it's only once the local bankers give the approval, then only they would be able to raise the finance, right? So it's very important for us to understand that investment banking is not only about JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and all, and there is a bigger orbit of work that is actually happening, which many people are not really aware of, and there that throws the biggest of opportunities, right? And this, I'm pretty sure you are getting the message loud and clear, that at every part of India and across the globe, every city has hospital, every city has real estate, every city has resorts, your steel unit, cement unit. There's so much of production that's happening from this set of factories. So there is a lot of requirement of people who has understanding of finance, both at three levels. So let me share it again. What I'm trying to say over here is that at three levels, people are looking for individuals who has understanding around this set of thing. One is in terms of the corporate who is actually looking for this finance. The other is the investment bank or the merchant bank, you may use the term over here in India especially, who is helping the company raise the finance from the commercial banks, right? So there is a requirement of people for them as well, and also the commercial banks who is actually extending the finance. So they also need people who can really apprise what these guys are saying, and whether they should actually extend the finance to the corporate, right? So at three levels, people are required which who has understanding around this project finance part of it, right? So is this triggering some thought in you guys? Just let me know, give me a yes in the chat box if it is, if you are able to see the potentiality that is there in terms of making a career, and like your understanding into project finance is going to give you an opportunity in, and I only mentioned commercial banks over here, but there is NBFCs, there's a big number of NBFC companies who also funds, there is credit rating agencies, the associated industry. So it's like, if say Tata Motors is coming up with a factory, so it's not only Tata Motors who is looking for people, but the ancillary units which is going to also come up with their factories in and around that place, right? So they also are going to be looking for people, right? So similarly over here, if banks, NBFCs, they are getting business, then the other research houses, your credit rating agencies, or every section of this fraternity, they would be looking for people who has certain skill sets, right? So I hope you are getting understanding as to where I'm coming from, right? So there is huge opportunity and requirement at every uh, part of India and across the globe, right? So give me a quick, just write down B, guys, if you are agreeable to what I'm trying to say, because this is very important for you to agree on this fact that there is immense potentiality, right? It's only that one has to get these skills been built up so that they can really make a big inroad. And let me tell you guys one thing: if you gain this experience, right, so tomorrow, suppose if you're helping a company, you can also start up your own fundraising unit, right? So no one stops you. It's like you are helping, you are interacting with the company, with the banks, and you are just assisting the company. I'm not saying you need to be a some category merchant bankers or something like that. You just being a listening sort of a person who is helping the company interact with the bankers and getting the stuff done, right? So you know how much of a commission you get in the process in this work. It's roughly 1 to 2% of that money, right? So if you're helping some company raise 500 crores, obviously you need to gain the skills for doing that. But then 1% of 500 crores is how much? It's roughly around 50, and it's 5 crores, right? So 5 crores is it less money, guys? Right? And this I'm saying it's only for one project, and just of 500 crores worth of project. It may be 4,000 crores, maybe 5,000 crores, any amount of money, right? So there is huge money also over here. You would have immense satisfaction of really working with this set of people, because as you mentioned, financial freedom, absolutely. So it'd be interacting with different set of people, and it is all good skill-based knowledge. It's not some transactional stuff that you are working on, right? So envision that sort of a possibility for you, because everything comes from your inner belief, right? So if you believe that this sort of a thing may possibly happen for you down the line, then obviously it's going to happen, right? But then you have to channelize your energy and your effort towards that, right? So I'm doing these webinars just to give you that sort of a flavor to you, to make you understand the immense possibility which is there, right? So now the fact that I've given you some sense around the world of project financing, the different types of projects, and also the opportunities that exist. So let me show you some stuff around how a project report comes up, how a model is worked on, right? Would you be eager to know about that, guys? Would you be eager to have a look on that? Just give me a yes in the chat box if yes. Abhishek, but will banks and corporates pay heed to newcomers in this field, or a person needs a good degree in a... अभिषेक नो डिग्री विग्री कुछ नहीं चाहिए होता है बॉस समझो बात को it's all about, it's obviously if you're new, then you may initially have to be working. See, when you are, obviously you cannot go on the first day and start working on this, right? You need to build skills, so you must have worked previously for say 10 years in some place or whatever in the industry. That's how you know how the work happens, right? So uh, that is point one. Second is so from there the connection would get established. If sometimes what people do, if you are alone, you work with some, say, a chartered accountant, reputed chartered accountant firms, what happens is the corporates now go to the local CAs who help them to with the accounting and auditing sort of work, right? They take their resource, but they are not the ones who really has the skills around this. So you need to then start working with those set of guys, and then once people get to know you around in the industry after some years, that's how you slowly build a business. See, that is the business part of it, right? So that can always be built up. How mana project finance is different from corporate finance? So Naveen, so corporate finance has, when you are working in the finance section of a corporate, there are many things of which you may, the corporate may be working on, right? So one is definitely for fundraising. The other things may be, they may have a research department of their own for some reason or the other, right? So uh, uh, maybe the daily finance cash flow management is one of the work. So there are various facets of work which come under the corporate finance segment, and one of the activities in the corporate finance segment is into project financing. So it's a subset of the corporate finance department from a corporate standpoint, right? Does it answer your question, Naveen? Just let me know. So I hope you are getting the message right now. Naveen, I have answered your question, right? So you got it right. So this is what the thing is. So now let me show you as to how the end project report looks like, right? So you'll appreciate better what I'm trying to say. Uh, right. So I hope you're able to see this, right? So are you able to see this, guys? The report? Give me a quick yes. You're able to see the screen and the report? Yeah. Okay. Right. So, see, this is a real report on which I myself have personally worked, and I've camouflaged few of things which sorry, I shouldn't be showing to you. So this obviously the first page is going to be something which is going to be very illustrative and decorative, right? So let me take you through the different constituents of a project report. So just visualize yourself as an individual who is, maybe you are the owner, right? So you need, when you're looking for this finance, you just don't barge into the bank, or you just don't go to the banker saying that I need 400 crores. He would be saying to you that, boss, uh, आपको पैसा चाहिए, आप किस चीज के लिए चाहिए, आप क्या बनाओगे, उसका क्या कहाँ पे बना रहे हो, लोकेशन कहाँ है, क्या चीज से आप ये चीज बनाओगे, what are the different how will you ensure that the production that is happening is going to have a market? Because once you sell the product, then the money flows in, then only you would be able to pay me the money, right? So you need to go to the banker with a detailed understanding of things, so that वो एक report में banker उसको पढ़े तो उसको पूरा clear understanding हो जाए कि what this guy is trying to place across, right? So are you getting, guys? Are you clear? Give me a in the chat box if you're getting, because you need to understand what is the essence of this project report, right? Where it is coming from. राइट तो उसको एक सेंस लेके जाना पड़ेगा बैंकर के पास कि भाई दिस इज व्हाट माय प्लान इज राइट नाउ अ गाय हु इज रनिंग अ स्टील यूनिट उसको तो स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से मतलब है एंड you'd find such guys over there who are not at all qualified, but they are earning crores and crores of rupees, right? So they are not educated or qualified enough to really come up with this report, right? So that is where they seek help of such merchant bankers or investment bankers, right? So uh, Priya, capital budgeting and working capital management. Yeah, obviously, one needs to budget and also understand the working capital part of it. And there's a way of placing across, not just only budgeting and working capital management. It's not management. It's just you're seeking working capital finance, Priya, and also you have to justify. I'll let me give me some time. I'll explain you what are the. So for that you need. What I was doing is showing you this different sections of the report. So once you see this, you'll understand whatever I'm trying to say. So first of all, you have a executive summary section, right? So what happens? See, please understand that when a report goes to a banker, now there are different levels of approval authority which is there. So it starts from the local branch level, then it goes to the regional level, zonal level, and also to the corporate level. It depends on the extent of finance and the approval matrix which is placed, right? So a guy who is going to go to, say, a report which you are placing across may go to 200, 300 odd pages. Now it's not possible for a person sitting at the corporate office where he or she may have to give see through from the whole India is going to the corporate office. They may be having 50 odd projects coming on to them on a daily basis. For them, it's not like easy for them to study this entire report, right? So what happens is the general study of this entire report is done by at a branch level, or say the zonal level, and all at a regional level, and the culmination of what these guys are trying to place across, and the justification as to what see, if the branch level says that, okay, I cannot approve this project, I don't see any potentiality, obviously it's not going to go to the next level, right? But suppose if it goes to the next level, the person at the top sitting at the corporate office, that person is only going to go to the executive summary part of it, right? So that in brief, the person understands what this project is all about, and why the banker is the banker, in the sense the his colleagues at a lower level, they have placed across this project to him, right? So that is the essence of executive summary, and it's very, very important section in a report, right? The second is the scope of work, right? So over here, you see, now the other thing over here is the date of inspection, right? So when you are actually coming up with a report, so you need to mention as to when the bankers have actually bankers need to see the place, right? Or the merchant bankers also has to see the place as to where the project is coming up over there for, right? Because how old say, if the person, the banker who has gone to meet the people over there in the factory is, say, 6 months before, right? So things may have changed in the last 6 months. It's very important for how early you have gone for inspection, then who has gone for the inspection, then what has been the methodology with which you have apprised the thing, right? Then what's the company background, the promoters details, the group companies, then what is the project details, right? What is the land details, the project location, the project area statement, the manufacturing process, the raw materials, the technical details, right? So many things you have to be giving a clarity around, right? Please understand, this entire setup work can be broken down into 3 4 broader heads. One is the technical section, because everything starts from the technicalities, right? So first is the technical section, second is the market section, where you do the market assessment and stuff like that, because you need to understand whether this product that they are coming up with has a real market out there. Then third is the financial section, right, where you do all the financial modeling and stuff like that, and also the management assessment section. Guys, is it clear? Just let me know. Is it making sense? Just give me, if you have any question, just place the question, guys, in the chat box. Are you finding this interesting? Give me A in the chat box, guys, if you're finding this interesting. Do you think one needs to know about this set of things? Because these are the actual stuff which is been worked on, right? So guys, as I'm mentioning, so this ideally gets to be what banks secure themselves in project finance. So Ayush, the fixed assets, maybe then they may have existing properties, those set of things. So security is another part that comes. So I am not going to discuss on that. That comes under the credit appraisal part of it, and it depends on the bank's internal policies as to what they would be, what level of security they are looking for, and stuff like that, right? Sri, any software available for what? Any software available for what? So guys, this is the technical section of it over here, as you see. Then comes the demand section. So securities are only restricted to project assets. Not exactly. Ayush, it is also other assets. So the more securities you can place across, it gets more comfortable for the banks to lend the finance, right? So it's not only necessarily going to be project assets. So the second part is the marketing and selling arrangement. Then comes the project cost part of it. So suppose this 400 crores you are mentioning. Now, how do you come to this 400 crores that you are looking for finance, right? So how much is going to be the land development cost, building civil cost? I'll show you a financial model, then you'll get more clarity around this. Plant and machinery cost, electricity cost. Now there are two set of costs which generally come across. One is called the hard cost, the other is called the soft cost. I'll show it to you, you'll understand better. So these are different components of cost. Then this 400 crores, how much is going to be placed across by the promoter? Because the promoter needs to have the skin in the game, right? So how much is that the promoter would like to place across, and how much is the loan component, which is something that they're looking from the banks, revenues, operating costs, then all this set of things, the profitability projections, financial analysis, sensitivity analysis, SWOT analysis, risk analysis, all this thing comes into the play, right? So Sycoma, Oracle, APM for project finance planning. So that is for the planning part of it. See, our discussion today is from the project financing part of it. So it is all about we playing a part as an investment banker to raise finance. Now there are technical guys who are going to use the software for the project finance planning, right? So they would be using that sort of a software. No, I'll share this PPT first time, or I'll write down important. Please write down, guys. I won't be sharing this. Not going to banks also provide unsecured lending like they do in wholesale credit. Yeah, so Ayush, they do unsecured lending, but it depends what sort of a scheme they are coming up with, or it depends on the extent of finance. For such uh, heavy financing, if till such time they really have some sort of a network working for them, they obviously won't be going ahead with unsecured lending, right? What if tomorrow they are not able to pay back the money? uh, Contingency means if on happening of some event, right? So if something happens, you are, see, when you're making, I'll discuss on this, Prem, when I uh, sorry, when I show you the financial model. So I'll just take you fast through this, just to give you a sort of a feeler as to एक report होता कैसा है, एक model होता कैसा है. Problem क्या है कि आज के दिन किसी को हवा नहीं है ये चीज का, but there is so much of opportunities which is there, and that is the precise objective of this webinar that I'm conducting, right? So as you see over here, there in the executive summary section, there is project scope. They speak about the promoters, the project cost, and the means of financing. So as I mentioned, there are two parts to it. One is called the hard cost. The rest part is called the soft cost. So hard cost includes the hard part of the factory, this thing, the land, building, plant and machinery, electrical installation. This comes on the hard cost. And there are certain elements which is called the margin money, pre-operative expenses, preliminary expenses, margin for working capital. So these forms the soft cost part of it. Then how much, over here it is like 31 crores project, right? So how much they are going to take from in terms of term loan. So they are looking for say 11 crores as term loan, and they are going to infuse 21 crores, right? So lesser amount they are taking, maybe they have good money at their end, right? So then what is like this loan that they are looking for? What is the interest rate they are ready to pay when they are going to start on the operations of this factory, from which part, how they are going to go about paying this money in 14 quarterly installments. So this sort of entire structure is placed. Now this section is taken from the financial model that is placed. Then what is the IRR for and different set of computations that takes place, right? Then scenario analysis is done, because see, when a project plan is placed across, it's generally you take the project financing for 7 long years, right? So you, who knows what is going to happen in the next 7 years, right? Uh, so there is a sort of a litmus test which is just done if there is a increase in the project cost because of the materials that is used, that gets to be more expensive, or say the sales realization is not to the extent as anticipated, or say the capacity utilization So you are saying that you are going to come up with say 20 metric tons of some output, but for some reason that much of production doesn't happen, and there is a 5% deficit on that. So how things would change in terms of IRR, DSCR, and stuff like that, right? So I cannot explain you all these technical terms out here, but this just to give you then status of approvals. This gets to be so important. I myself have seen a company which was into chemical industry. Now these guys didn't have a pollution certificate, for which a very good infrastructure in terms of the factory that they had come up with. But then what happened is 2 years they were functioning well, but for some reason someone has forgotten to renew the pollution certificate, and when they got caught, it was really shut down. And so that had a huge impact in the production and everything down the lane, right? So a lot of things, so one needs to be very clear as to whether this set of things are actually happening, right? uh, uh, Abbas, DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. uh, Abhishek, yes, it has been done, right? So the different approvals that has come up, then so what are the milestones when they intend to complete the stuff, what are the expected dates for that, right? Then risk analysis and mitigation, this gets to be a very important segment, right? So what are key risks in terms of their experience and capabilities? If there is a time overrun, so they are anticipating things to be done in a certain time frame, what happens if there is overrun of time? Or say the funding risk, means the money that is promised by the bankers, if that doesn't reach out at the right time, right? Or say cost overrun, the cost increases for some, or statutory approvals don't come up at the right time, or there's a demand risk. So you anticipate now there is going to be demand, but for some reason that demand falls, right? Pricing level, so whether you are able to pass on the increased prices to the consumers, right? Competition risk, operating risk, force major risk. There are a lot of things on the basis of which you need to analyze stuff. And this is what I say, guys. It's not about just building financial models. Many people have been given a very wrong impression that you just need to know financial models and you are good to go. It's not the case. You need to understand the entire business scenario. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the technicalities of stuff. You need to understand the management, and that is the true work of an analyst in the true sense of the word. और ये सब काम में ही मजा है boss, right? And this is how I say that this is different from the operation daily jobs where you are doing some KYC or some accounting entries, right? This is not that. Am I making sense, guys? Give me a quick yes, because it doesn't make any sense for me to go ahead on this if you are not appreciating whatever I'm trying to say, right? So I need your appreciation, because you need to understand, and my objective is to, and this is something which people are having no sense around, and there is some sort of a wrong impression which is being placed across, which I'm trying to break within my limited uh, possibilities, right? uh, Abbas, it depends. So yeah, it depends on how much of time one gets to create, means study this, right? So how what sort of pressure comes down, and how many projects you are parallelly handling. This report is, see, it doesn't take much to draft the report, right? In 1-2 days you can draft the report. That's not a challenge. The challenge is what you are drafting, right? What you are putting in the report, how much of an analysis you have done. So for doing the analysis in the true sense of the word, how much of questions you have actually placed, right? What sort of questions you have placed, what data elements you have extracted, whom you have reached to clarify a set of things, right? So that is where the major time needs to be placed across. One has to go in the market, right? So this is what I try to say. It's like when you're an analyst, it's like a reporter. If you're just sitting at the back end in the studio, that is not the true work of a reporter. A reporter has to be on the ground, right? Come in the studio. It's like both front end but back end, right? So as an analyst also, you have to do both front and back end sort of a work, and that is what makes the work fun and interesting. That is what the adrenaline rush that happens, that really get that going for an individual, right? So uh, so a lot of I've just shown you the executive summary, dears, right? So there is much more and beyond to this, right? Varun says, okay, where can you find such kind of job? So I'll discuss on that. Just hold this set of questions, guys, or we'll go too much distracted on different things. So then we speak about the SWOT part of it, and you get to see just a project of 40 odd crores roughly. So much of analysis is done, and this is a wagon factory. So this company is coming up with a railway wagon manufacturing unit, right? So you need to read through what the Ministry of Railways has, what is the program, what's the government's plan, right? Everything has to come in the purview of things, right? What are the technicalities, the economic feasibility, and stuff like that. I've removed few things so that so project rational. Now this is where the real report comes into play, right? So here you give more detailed understanding around the company, right? Around the shareholding, the promoters details, if they are associated or group companies, their financials of those set of guys, right? Uh, the project details, the very clear understanding around the project, right? Few simple things, So I'll give you whoever is from Maharashtra. No, it's not for sale rights. So there is a place called Ganpati Phule, if you know. Whoever is from Mumbai side, Maharashtra side, they must be knowing, right? So there was a hotel project which was coming up, and everything was fine on papers and everything whom we have interacted with. It's a greenfield project, very excellent view from the premise and everything. But one thing, when we actually did the site visit, we saw that electric pole, that wire was going from the top just diagonally on the land that was placed over there. So and there was like the company was saying, "Oh, to hata dege sir, wo zyada matlab kuch problem nahi hai." But believe me, that got to be the reason to like जिसके कारण से वो पूरा halt हो गया project, right? So such minute things one needs to like, मतलब हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि फाइनेंस में हम लोग डिसीजन ले रहे हैं, बट खेल कहीं दूसरी जगह चल रहा है, right? So I hope you're appreciating whatever I'm trying to say. So there are many things that you have to take into cognizance before you actually place across your words to the banker. If you're working from the investment banking side, if you're a banker, then you are actually extending the finance. तो आपके ऊपर सर के ऊपर वो pressure रहेगा if the person, if it's getting to be an NPA, right? So all these things come into the play. Now distance from the key demand drivers, right, from the airport, railway station, how far the distance and all set of things. Now the set of project which is coming up, what are the plot details, what sort of structure been used, right? So what happens is, obviously you being a finance guy, you won't be having understanding around the technicalities part of it. So what happens in this case is the company for whom you're doing, uh, you'd be appointing a technical consultant who has experience in a similar industry. So this technical part of it is something where you would get validated by that technical consultant who is going to be going ahead and working with you, right? So hectic task. So Sai, you won't make crores and crores of rupees of money just doing transactional work, operational works, right? So you need to take these responsibilities. And believe me, there was a point of time through me, in every month such 40 odd projects used to be worked on, right? So you understand. So nothing is difficult. If I've handled, you, everyone can handle that. The only thing is, you have to give time, you have to enjoy the process, you have to be like learning on a daily basis. So that sort of a mindset and the perspective, if you keep, you can also do it, right? So it happens over a period of time. Then it's about the manufacturing process, how things happen. So everything, every detailed part, so that the banker gets very clear understanding, भाई ये सब production होगा, ये machine लगेगा, ये चीज इसमें रहेगा. Because see, the banks also has their internal project finance cell, right? So they would also be sending across the report to that cell to just have a cross validation of what they are trying to say is correct or not, right? So then the different set of orders that they have placed, this company has placed, what sort of a order they have placed, and what are the price points people have spelled out, because many a time people come up with wrong pricings, right? So just to inflate on the cost, or वहां से पैसा खींचने का, so they need to validate whether these orders are correct or not, right? So all these things, I'm not taking you into too much of a, already some people are saying it's a hectic task, so it's not, believe me, it's not that everything you have to do on your own. It's a teamwork at the end of the day, right? Such an understanding of our factories. so so uh, so right, so this is a project, guys. You are, अगर 40 करोड़ का प्रोजेक्ट का ये रिपोर्ट देख के अगर if you are coming to such conclusions, 4,000 करोड़ का क्या करोगे, और 20,000 करोड़ का क्या करोगे, right? So there, so land, raw material, manpower requirement, okay, machineries, what sort of machineries are being used, again the project cost detailing and everything. So over here is, there's a detailed part, and that was the executive summary part. So you would see certain areas which is coming up again and again, right? So summary of site inspection, so when people have visited the site, what are the things that they have observed, right? Now this is the market section, so where you speak about the demand assessment part of it, right? So over here you need to, now what are the different types of wagons which are there, right? So and the features of those set of there are certain things we had to remove, right? So what are the set of government initiatives one has to go through? What is the demand supply dynamics? What are the demand drivers, right? So these set of things, all set of research and all one has to do to dig dive and understand whether there is going to be a demand of such wagon this company is manufacturing, राइट, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वो वैगन अगर बेच ही नहीं पाया तो पैसा कहाँ से मिलेगा, और नहीं मिलेगा तो इन लोग को बैंक को दे वोंट बी एबल टू रिपे बैक द मनी, राइट? एंड बिलीव मी, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, कॉर्पोरेट के लिए ठीक है, वो पैसा नहीं दिया, एनपीए हो जाएगा, ऑब्वियसली दैट्स अ बैड थिंग टू हैपन. एंड think from an investment banking standpoint, now you are doing some work for a corporate and you have relationship with the bankers, आपके लिए तो ये banker जिंदगी भर रहेगा, right? So you need to ensure that you see the interests of both the bankers as well as the company on the other side, right? So guys, sorry I cannot share the report. This only the guys who take up my programs, they would be able to access the report, right? It's only for them. If I share with everyone, then it would be injustice with them, right? Who is actually paying the money. So this is the set of then the competitive scenario around stuff, right? Financial risk, what are different elements, what are the percentages, right? So if you have this percentage breakup, then you get to understand ki, what is the trend over the years, बढ़ रहा है, घट रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, right? So this is the conclusion. Now this is where the finance section come up, right? Rajat, it's a team game. It's not worked by one individual. There's a team which works, right? Because there are different sections to it. एक section, एक लोग काम करते हैं, they sit together, they all work together. Okay, so now we, as you see over here, you are getting to see the, भाई bored नहीं हो रहा हो ना? I hope you guys are not getting bored to see so much of stuff. Just let me know, guys. Give me a no if you're not getting bored. Good to know that भाई तुम लोग मतलब ये भी ऑन नहीं करते, वीडियो भी ऑन नहीं कर, चेहरा भी दिखता नहीं है, समझ में नहीं आता क्या चल रहा है. मुझे तो जो लगता है आई कीप ऑन शोइंग, बट देन and these are required, मतलब I like I've spent years on this. Audio goes at the end of the webinar. रजत, आई वांट कोर्स का जब होगा तब देखा जाएगा, ठीक है? आई वांट यू गाइस टू नो बॉस कि मतलब ये सब सीखना जरूरी है, राइट? दिस इज व्हाट द एंड प्रोडक्ट यू हैव टू कम अप विद. Video is actually off from your side. I didn't get it. Are you guys able to see the video and audio? Video access was on, it was off from your end. From my end, the video is okay. Is that so? अरे तो बोलोगे ना? अभी देखो. अभी just see. Are you able to switch on the video? Oh, guys. Okay, it was done from my end. Yes, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll take care of this later on. Thanks for pointing this out, guys. Yeah. Right. So these are the different sections of a report that you have to come up like this, right? So इसका पूरा justification, raw material cost, क्यों, कहाँ, कितना, कैसे, कहाँ से draw करोगे? You're getting to see the हर चीज of raw material cost, everything, right? So everything around your working capital. Yes, someone was speaking of the working capital management. So kitna working capital lagega, what is the depreciation as per Companies Act, Income Tax Act, everything, right? So everything is given over here, right? BP calculation, break-even point, cash break-even point, sensitivity analysis. So guys, risk analysis section again coming up over here, right? SWOT analysis, conclusion, right? So now critical success factors. So for this factory to really come up, see there are a lot of open areas, right? ये मूवी बनाना जैसा है कि मतलब मूवी चल भी सकता है, नहीं चल भी सकता है, but we need to anticipate as to क्या कारण हो सकता है कि which may stop the smooth function of this factory. So what is going to be critical? Because one has to place across this to the banker so that they know about this set of stuff. See, at the end of the day, when the banker is also extending the finance, they are also taking this decision basis some risk that they are uh, on the basis merit of some risk they are taking, right? So see, the first chapter of finance is risk versus return. The finance मतलब ही risk और रहेगा, return रहेगा, ये दोनों का ही game चल रहा है, whether it's in the equity market, debt market, anywhere. So one has to understand कि bankers को भी पता है हर project में risk रहता है, लेकिन क्या risk है, कितना रिस्क है, ये रिस्क मूव रिमूव करने का क्या तरीका कंपनी they are working on, right? So all these things has to be really placed across. Then only the person who is sitting at the bank end, they would be comfortable of you as an investment banker when you have justification for every pointers that they would like to place across, right? So this is the report, guys. I hope you have got a अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट दिस, राइट? मजा आया? अभी मैं मॉडल दिखाता हूं, अभी मैं मॉडल दिखाता हूं, चलो. Okay, so this is how a model looks. So how many of you have uh, how many of you have okay, let me address some questions if someone has. What is it better, which is better, retail loan, credit, or small? Akshay, please understand. In fact, that is how I'll be closing on what I have to discuss today. It's a very pertinent question you have asked on a very important, on a day when I am going to address that part of it. Akshay Chatrani. I want career guidance for your mail. This is my career plan. Himani, please understand I cannot go into one-to-one career discussion. I generally charge a money for that. So if you're ready to pay, you can drop a mail. Otherwise, you can place your questions over here to the extent I can possibly revert. I'll definitely do that. Project functions involve like consider and standalone activities. Frame, if it is like ब्राउनफील्ड होगा तो कंसोलिडेटेड होगा क्योंकि उसका जो एग्जिस्टिंग बिजनेस जो है, एग्जिस्टिंग जो फैक्ट्री है उसका प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, उसका एक बिजनेस चल रहा है, राइट? उसके साथ ये नया सेटअप आ रहा है, राइट? तो उसका नया प्रोडक्शन होगा, उसका हर चीज. So that is going to be a consolidated financial statement that is going to come up. And if it is a greenfield project, then it's a बट ग्रीनफील्ड, लेकिन वो अगर हम लोग ने जो देखा, it's a diversification project, related diversification coming up in some other factory. So अगर वो existing operations रहेगा, then it is going to be consolidation. If existing business नहीं है, then it's a standalone. Right? Grass and itself have many segment career-wise which one can follow. So and the whole academic path. should adopt to enter on this for highly paid segments of investment banking. Shraddha, thanks that you are appreciating whatever I'm placing across. I'll address this question. ये last के लिए रखो. I'll Ajit, I am not giving the recording to all. It's only I'll be giving the recording to the guys who have already taken up my programs. Because क्या है कि मैं सबको recording दूंगा तो कोई आएगा नहीं इसमें. सबको लगता है मैं recording देख लूंगा बाद में. तो मैं किससे बात करूं? ये जो देखो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन से मैं आंसर देता हूं तो बहुत सारी चीज ओपन अप होता है, राइट? सो दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग हैपेंस. नहीं तो सब मतलब हम लोग तो इंडियन है ना, सबको हम लोग को तरीका पता है. सर इज एवरीथिंग कवर्ड इन द वेबसाइट? या श्री, इट इज राइट. चलो, सो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर गियर्ड अप टू सी द फाइनेंशियल मॉडल? की भूख लग गया? 10 हो गया. आई जनरली ट्राई टू कीप इट विद इन 1 आवर्स टाइम. Are you interested to see a financial model? Give me a quick yes, guys. If yes, एनर्जी है ना? मतलब पूरा दिन मेहनत करके रात में भी इतना नंबर देखना, रिपोर्ट देखना, आदमी पागल हो जाएगा. Let's go for SPVs for diversification. Yeah, they do. Yeah. चलो, so let me show you a model. So guys, this is how for those who have no idea as to what a financial model is all about, so this is how it more or less looks, right? So the first, so as you see over here, नीचे देखोगे तो there are different sheets that come over here, right? Sorry. So there is a assumption sheet, project cost sheet, drawdown. So I'll explain one by one. I'm not going to go deep in explaining the sales as such, but then the first assumption sheet was 60 to 70% जो मेहनत होता है ना, ये assumption sheet में चला जाता है. क्योंकि assumption, देखो, you are doing a futuristic projection, तो उसके लिए you are trying to understand how things would unfold. For that, you need to do all this study, right? You need to understand the economy, industry, demand, technical, management, everything you need to understand. Basis that, you need to create a assumption sheet, right? और वो assumption sheet के sheet का तैयारी में I would say जो effort जाता है एक मॉडल बनाने में, उसमें 60 to 70% effort वो assumption sheet बनाने में चला जाता है. ठीक है? तो that, and it's the most crucial part. This assumption sheet is the most crucial part among all these sheets, right? So where we speak about this is another, this is not this company wagon का model नहीं दिखा रहा हूँ. This is a paper industry, right? Where like the set of raw material that they use is imported waste paper, chemicals, consumable, power cost, a cost, अलग-अलग different set of assumptions which are taken over a period of time, right? और उसका project cost कितना है? ये total project cost is 55 crores, right? उसमें hard cost जो मैंने पहले भी बताया, land cost, building cost, ये सब, और ये different set of soft cost बोला जाता है, pre-operative expenses, margin money on working capital, ये सब अलग-अलग cost है, right? अभी ये cost में क्या देखा जा रहा है कि मीन्स ऑफ फाइनेंस, उसमें द बैंक से उन लोग कितना दे आर आस्किंग फॉर 32 crores, and equity infusion that they are doing is 23.72 crores, right? So this is how it works out. Now suppose ये 32 crores अगर उसको दिया जाए तो rate of interest कितना होगा? 12.75%. and how they are going to repay, what is the plan of repayment, right? So that is called drawdown. You draw down as to how you are going to make the payment over a period of time, right? And IDC is interest during construction, right? So how this entire gamut of things work out. Then comes the production and sales. So kitna production, sales kitna hoga, closing stock kitna rahega, all this computation happens. Then comes the inventory part, right? Because inventory kitna rahega, uske basis pe level of working capital assessment gets to be very important. फिर ये जो implementation, ये जो होगा, मतलब ये जो आदमी बोल रहा है कि आपको मैं ये पैसा लौटाऊंगा, so that is a function of how the implementation is going to be. Factory बनाने में कितना समय लगेगा और कैसे कैसे how. So let me share one thing with you. Please understand, guys, when this company is looking for finance and say the bank agree कि okay, I'll give you this amount of money, but it doesn't mean say 40 करोड़ उसको चाहिए तो 40 करोड़ ऐसा नहीं कि एक शॉट में दे देता है. This banker gives in tranches, right? तो पहले एक काम के लिए उन लोग ने से 10 करोड़ दिया, फिर क्या होता है, there is a thing called LI, lenders independent engineer. तो क्या होता है कि बैंकर इन लोग को अपॉइंट करते हैं, लेंडर्स, दे आर टेक्निकल कंसल्टेंट सॉर्ट ऑफ पीपल, सो हु गो टू द साइट एंड सी थ्रू द फैक्ट दैट ये जो 10 करोड़ उसने लिया है वो वही काम के लिए इसको यूज किया है कि नहीं किया है. यू गेटिंग? सो वंस दे गिव अ रिपोर्ट, हाँ सही में ये 10 करोड़ उसी चीज के लिए जो बोला गया था उसमें यूज हुआ है, देन द सेकेंड ट्रांच ऑफ मनी कम्स अप, राइट? सो इसके साथ ये पैसे के साथ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन शेड्यूल का भी एक रिलेशन होता है. assume 0% relation won't that actually give debate numbers. Don't get into calculations guys. There मतलब don't take it in face value. इसके पीछे स्टोरी जानना जब बहुत जरूरी है. रजत, just stop yourself from this thought process. फ्लो को समझो. अभी ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि ये फ्लो को समझो, ठीक है? So then you do the working capital assessment over here, as you see, then you understand what is going to be the current ratio sort of a stuff, right? Then what is the schedule? So हर चीज का जो schedule होता है balance sheet का, so फिर P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, all these things, all the different set of things, then BEP, break-even point, and then finally the ratio computation, right? So IRR computation, DSCR. DSCR is the most important computation that happens for the bankers to take a decision whether they should be actually financing or not, right? So debt service coverage ratio. So guys, yeah, I'm Bengali. Accent में problem है तो please, I'm sorry. Just excuse me for that. So guys, I hope you are getting connotation, no rights, but few only. Model I will try to share, guys, and this is only for who gives a comment in the Facebook group as to what you learned, and give me this thing. Share your email ID. I'll share a model में एक share करूँगा आप लोग के साथ, ठीक है? So guys, सीखने को मिला कुछ, मतलब is this 1 hour 15 minutes is worth of your time, guys? मजा आया ये सब में काम करना है? मतलब गाइस आई एम ट्राइंग टू, मतलब ये सोच आप लोग कहीं से भी सीखो, उसको लेके ये नहीं है, बट सीखो, अच्छा चीज सीखो, ये सब अच्छा काम है और तभी जाके अच्छा सैलरी मिलेगा. और ये सिर्फ सैलरी नहीं, बोनस, ये सब, मतलब जितना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट, इफ यू हैव बीन इन माय अर्लियर दिस थिंग वेबिनार, आई टोल्ड बड़ा सैलरी के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट्स हैंडल करना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो या अनदर थिंग which I was mentioning that I'll discuss is that so I discussed on this part. Now guys, please understand, there is one thing which I've written, that the way, please understand, see what you are going to get as a salary is going to be a function of what work you are doing, right? Now the reality is, ये समझ लो, ये लाइन एक बार देख लो, you don't need high skilled people, you need systems. अभी कंपनीज में क्या हो रहा है, कंपनीज, हर कंपनी सोच रहा है कि मैं मैकडोनल्ड्स कैसे बनाऊं, यू गेटिंग? मतलब मैकडोनल्ड्स जैसा कंपनी कैसे बनाऊं. मैकडोनल्ड्स में क्या खासियत क्या है कि आप लंदन में खाओ, बॉम्बे में खाओ, कलकत्ता में खाओ, या कहीं पे भी खाओ, it is the same way the end product is coming up with, right? So they have created a system, a process, because it's very difficult for companies to manage such human beings. हम लोग दो ह्यूमन बीइंग में ही ये नहीं होता है, और यहाँ पे हजारों हजारों लोग हैंडल करना पड़ता है, राइट? सो व्हाट कंपनीज आर लुकिंग फॉर, मैं प्रोसेस को कैसे स्टैंडर्डाइज करूं. इसलिए हर एमएनसी का देखोगे प्रोसेस, कोई ना कोई प्रोसेस में डाल देता है. अब द प्रॉब्लम इज कि कंपनी तो उसके अच्छे के लिए कर रहा है, दे आर नॉट बॉदर्ड अबाउट यू, राइट? कंपनी को उसका प्रॉफिट से मतलब है, and efficiency लाने से मतलब है. लेकिन if you are getting to be part of a process, you would never get to understand the business as a whole. और ये अगर नहीं होगा, if you are not able to work in bigger projects and bigger mandates, then the growth really gets stuck, you know. एंड इफ यू आर ओनली वर्किंग एट द बैक एंड, एमएनसीज का क्या होता है, बैक एंड में आप काम कर रहे हो, जो फ्रंट एंड है वो कोई बाहर कंट्री में है, एंड यू आर जस्ट स्पीकिंग ओवर द फोन मे बी, और ऑन दिस थिंग ओवर द नेट, बट एक जो मतलब प्रीमाइस में जाके काम करने का जो मतलब होता है, that is of a different thing altogether, right? Are you agreeable to what I'm saying? Are you guys understanding where I'm coming from? Right. So what you guys to do is you have to get into those business and those nature of work which is not volume driven. It has to be value driven sort of a work. And these are the type of work which is value driven work. यहाँ पे मतलब मशीन कोई कर नहीं सकता है इतना लेवल ऑफ एनालिसिस, आदमी को जाना पड़ेगा, उसी को इंफॉर्मेशन रोकन, ये कोई टेक्नोलॉजी लगा के, हाँ कुछ कुछ जगह पे कुछ हो सकता है टू बिल्ड एफिशिएंसी, बट ऐसा नहीं होगा कि पूरा चीज मशीन करके आउटपुट निकाल देगा. You're getting what I'm trying to say. So that is the fun. अब suppose Tata Motors is looking for financing. Do you think ये कोई machine decide कर देगा Tata Motors को पैसा देना है कि नहीं देना है? Because there are so many things which are a part of this entire exercise, right? So it's very important that you guys understand or think about in the future में volume driven से value driven काम में कैसे ये करूं. So someone asked me earlier, right, कि retail से जुड़ा होना चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए. मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि retail से हटो, जितना जल्दी retail से हटोगे उतना अच्छा है. Move to the corporate side of it. Corporate sales is always better than retail sales. Corporate analysis is always better than retail level. तो रिटेल होगा तो वो एनालिटिक्स हो जाएगा, क्योंकि इतने छोटे 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 पीसेस होता है, सबको तो स्टडी नहीं कर सकते, तब स्टैटिस्टिक्स का यूज लिया जाता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई एनालिटिक्स कम्स इनटू प्ले, एंड दैट इज वेयर टेक्नोलॉजी, Python and all those things come into programming, statistics, all these things comes into the scheme of things, right? But then when you are doing it for bigger companies and bigger decisions, तो वहां पे machine से नहीं होगा. You require this thing, real study. Getting guys from where I'm coming up, equity analysis comes under equity research. I'll try to do. Palak, should one person on the नहीं Palak, the challenge is, please understand, the problem is ना FRM में प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस पढ़ाया जाता है, ना CFA में, CA में प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस का टच होता है, लेकिन इतना जो डिटेल में मैंने दिखाया ये सब कहीं पे नहीं पढ़ाया जाता है. एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज हम लोग का फाइनेंस कहाँ पे पढ़ाया जाता है? फाइनेंस का कोर्स दो ही है, MBA फाइनेंस एंड CFA. बाकी इज अकाउंटिंग, राइट? CA इज अकाउंटिंग, इट्स नॉट फाइनेंस प्राइमरी. फाइनेंस कुछ अलग ही गेम होता है. तो और MBA में फर्स्ट लेवल फर्स्ट ईयर तो आप सब पढ़ रहे हो, मार्केटिंग ये वो अग्रम अग्रम सब पढ़ रहे हो. सेकंड ईयर में जाके फाइनेंस पढ़ना शुरू किया, 6 महीना पढ़ा, फिर प्लेसमेंट प्लेसमेंट प्लेसमेंट. फिर CFA में आओ तो क्या है, फर्स्ट लेवल पे वही है, इकोनॉमिक्स ये वो. फिर जो दो एरियाज पढ़ाए जाते हैं, equity and the bond market. Now CFA curriculum is designed for the US market, it's not designed for the Indian market, right? Please understand, that's a developed economy. वहां पे बॉन्ड मार्केट का बहुत बड़ा बिजनेस है. इंडिया में बॉन्ड मार्केट इज नॉट सो डेवलप्ड, और प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस कहीं पे नहीं पढ़ाया जाता है. लेकिन इंडिया में जो it's a developing economy, here you require a lot of such professionals who have understanding around this set of things. I hope you are getting where I'm coming from, right? So it's very important that you guys need to understand the reality. आप जो करना है करो, लेकिन you need to know, take an informed decision, right? And that I'm trying to help you out to take this informed decisions, because ये एक गलत रास्ते पे चला जाओगे, फिर 7-8 साल बीत जाएगा, फिर 33, 34, 35, now people call me up and cry like hell. मतलब I also feel so bad being chartered accountants also. मतलब कहीं NBFC में क्या vehicle loan process में घुस गई, मतलब 8 साल 7 साल दे दिया लाइफ में, फिर क्या करे, आगे कोई कुछ दिखाई नहीं पड़ रहा है. So don't make those mistakes, right? So take informed decisions, और ये सब सीखो, ये सब पे एक्ट करो, take steps around this set of things, right? So guys, so this is one thing which I had to say to you, and So as it is said, guys, this is a very good write-up which I got today, which says this Simon Sinek jo hai, he says happiness comes from what we do, fulfillment comes from why we do it. So it's very important for us to, I hope you could see the screen. No, na? Okay, so this is what the write-up is. Happiness comes from what we do, fulfillment comes from why we do it. So it's very important for us to understand why we are doing something. So, and that is why I am trying to explain all these things to you. कि was why को समझो, the big why as it said. If you know the big why, then you will take action towards that, right? And that gets to be very, very significant. So I won't stretch any further, guys. It's already almost 10:30. So a few more last pieces of things. So guys who is joining for the first time and you are not part of my Telegram group, do join the group by clicking on this link. If you're not part of the Facebook group, do join the group by clicking on this link. And the last thing is, if you want to join these webinars further, please ensure that you are keeping a check on the Telegram group and the Facebook group. Also, if the mails go to the spam, remove it and move it to the normal side so that you keep on receiving the mails from my end, right? So let me start addressing the questions which are there. Any good opportunities for CA finalists? Lumna, absolutely. So it's not. You can definitely be a part of some small company. You can get into some debt syndication companies who work in this space, or the boutique investment banking companies. So अगर final नहीं clear हुआ है, अगर interview हुआ है, so they do take people. देखो बड़ा कंपनी का बड़े चोचले होते हैं because they have to place across to the outside world that these are the set of people with this qualification they are having on board. But ये problem तो mid size और छोटे कंपनी में नहीं होते. So you find those places. और फिर क्या होता है कि once you gain some experience, then the bigger companies get to be ready to take you because you know the work. Then they promote your experience, they promote your skill sets. Then क्या पढ़ाई लिखाई किए हो वो सब साइट में चला जाता है. So this is the reality, right? So you need to understand this. अभी मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर बहुत जरूरी होता है. मतलब यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये पूरा जो मैकेनिकल का जो टेक्निकल एनालिसिस सेक्शन, इफ यू कैन प्रिपेयर for an investment bank, they would be eager to take up. Now suppose if you are a mechanical engineer of say the healthcare industry, you have spent some years in the healthcare sector. Now people need to have they take people from the engineering background who are from specific industries, right? So that like उन लोग को ये जो पूरा टेक्निकल का कितना काम होता है, राइट? सो उसमें they get involved. So many investment banks take up people, and being an engineer, if you also know finance, तब तो मतलब, and a engineer who knows finance and the market section, ये काम भी कर सकता है, वो तो तोप है बस. He is in high demand if one can really do that, right? So front, because you would be the ones who would go for site visit, you would be meeting the companies, right? So front end ये exercise तो रहता ही है. Any program that covers corporate actions? No, not that I have corporate actions के में मेरा कोई program नहीं है. I have not worked in the corporate section ever. CA finalist should start, and sir can tell from where CA finalist should start in IB. Shraddha, just follow my webinars. You'll get a clarity कि होता क्या है. अब तुमको जहाँ पे ठीक लगता है, you think this is the area where I would like to, and that's why I suggest everyone to take my program, because I'm not selling it, guys, but the truth is कि boss जो पैसे में मैं programs place करता हूँ, if you go through the programs, you'll get a clarity कि भाई मुझे कौन सा एरिया पे मुझे जाना है. You'll get क्या होता है, because I've given you the practical understanding of things. ये जो report दिखा है, model दिखा है, I've shown you the real stuff, right? So then you get a clarity. एक गलत रास्ते पे दिशा पे चले गए और फिर 30 साल वही गलत जगह पे घुस के रहने का मतलब नहीं बनता है ना. So don't make that mistake. एक एक सब्जेक्ट के लिए सोचो. मतलब टैक्स के लिए एक सपोज टैक्स कोई सीए पढ़ रहा है, कितना खर्चा है? 20 15 से 20-30 हजार आदमी एक सब्जेक्ट पे खर्चा कर देता है. So Arun, please stay tuned to my groups and all. You'll get to understand when I offer my programs. I don't offer my programs on the webinar. So we come project financer after CFA level 1. वरुण, सो CFA लेवल 1 हो, 2 हो, 3 हो, उसका कोई मतलब नहीं बनता है. तुमको स्किल, सी एक वर्ड, तुम लोग जो जितने बंदे हो यहाँ पे 52 पीपल आर देयर, एक वर्ड दिमाग में घुसा दो, वो दैट इज स्किल. स्किल बढ़ाना है, ठीक है, ये दिमाग में घुसाओ कि स्किल बढ़ाना है. इट्स नॉट प्रोग्राम, इट्स नॉट कोर्स, स्किल. स्किल कहाँ से मिलेगा? And that is what I'm trying to place across to you guys. So once you can show, suppose ऐसा एक रिपोर्ट का एक स्ट्रक्चर बना के दिखाया कंपनी को, यही रिपोर्ट मैंने जो लिखा है उसी को तुम एक अपने एंड पे जस्ट कॉपी पेस्ट भी किया, थोड़ा सेंसिबली कॉपी पेस्ट किया, और आदमी को दिखाया सर मुझे ऐसा पता है कि ऐसा रिपोर्ट एंड रिपोर्ट दिखता है, और उसमें कोई कुछ क्वेश्चन किया तो तुम एक लेवल तक आंसर कर पाए उसको. सो डू यू थिंक वो बंदा लेगा कि नहीं लेगा तुमको? ये जो मॉडल है, ऐसा एक मॉडल अगर बना के दे सकते हो तो वो लेगा कि नहीं लेगा तुमको? इट वुड बी फुलिश ऑन योर पार्ट टू थिंक यू वोंट बी टेकन. एंड बिलीव मी, मतलब सैलरी दे के भी अच्छा बंदा नहीं मिलता. एंड व्हेन वी से अच्छा बंदा, उसका मतलब सिटिंग, आई वाज इन बीकेसी, सिटिंग अक्रॉस इन बीकेसी इन अ फाइनेंशियल हब, इन अ फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल, पेइंग 20 lakhs ऑफ सैलरी, मुझे अच्छा स्किल बंदा नहीं. मैं अगर मतलब बेसिक चीज पूछता था कि भाई तुझे मैं यहाँ पे भेजा स्टडी करने के लिए, सो व्हाट वुड बी द क्वेश्चंस यू आर गोइंग टू आस्क. वो क्वेश्चन ही क्या पूछेगा, उसको हवा नहीं है. क्योंकि मॉडल तुम जितना भी बना लो, उसका गार्बेज, मतलब अगर डेटा इंफॉर्मेशन सही नहीं है तो गार्बेज इन होगा तो गार्बेज आउट होगा ना. मॉडल तो कभी ना कभी सीख ही जाओगे. किसी को 2 महीना लगेगा, किसी को 6 महीना लगेगा. एक दिन ऐसा आएगा, मतलब आंख बंद करके तुम मॉडल बना सकते हो. लेकिन व्हाट अबाउट द इनपुट एलिमेंट्स? समझ रहे हो बात? वो that is, and that depends on what sort of question you can place across, like how you probe into things, how you look into things. Management consulting space mein there is a thing which is very commonly tested on, that which is called guesstimates. कि बोल दिया कि भाई मुंबई में कितना कैब चल रहा है, बोलो. सो किसी को हवा नहीं, जो पूछ रहा है उसको भी हवा नहीं, जो जो जिसको पूछा जा रहा है उसको भी तो हवा नहीं है, वो तो है. लेकिन देयर हैज टू बी मेथड टू द मैडनेस, राइट? देयर शुड बी अ वे अराउंड योर अप्रोच. तो वो अप्रोच को देखा जाता है. नो वन हैज सीन व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन. सपोज ये 7 साल का जो प्लान बनाया था, किसी को पता था कि कोविड आएगा? लेकिन पूरा हेवायर हो गया अभी पूरा प्लान का चौपट. So then there is another thing which happens, which is called restructuring. उसको लेके कभी मैं दूसरा दिन बात करूंगा. So I'm civil engineer, postgraduate in construction management. So Vivek, if you're civil engineer and postgraduate in construction management, do my real estate financing uh, 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 yeah, course, boss. I'm selling it. If you say that I'm selling it. And there is nothing bad in selling, let me tell you. आप लोग को भी बेचना पड़ेगा कुछ ना कुछ कभी ना कभी लाइफ में. So be ready to sell. But the thing is that why I'm saying so, because there is huge dearth of people who have real understanding of real estate financing. और रियल एस्टेट हर नुक्कड़ में, मतलब एवरी वेर वी हैव रियल एस्टेट, राइट? लेकिन कहीं पे नहीं पढ़ाया जाता है. नो वन टीचर्स हाउ टू डू रियल एस्टेट फाइनेंसिंग. और प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंसिंग का जो फिर भी ये थोड़ा कहीं भी पढ़ाया गया, रियल एस्टेट फाइनेंसिंग का तो कहीं टच नहीं होता है. So if you're an engineer, civil engineer with construction management background, and if you have understanding of real estate financing, it will be a deadly combo. And let me tell you, I've given real case studies, market analysis कैसा होता है, पूरा market research कैसा होता है, हर चीज मैंने मतलब real projects में on which I have personally worked, I have given understanding of. So please, that would be my suggestion. Himani, please mail me. Yeah. What about your program? So guys, whoever is asking for the program, just stay tuned. I do not want you to pay high and subscribe to my programs. Just keep yourself tuned to the mails and group and this thing. So when I give a offer, then take it up, right? वरुण, सो डिपार्टमेंट इट डिपेंड्स राइट. बैंक में हो गए तो तुमको प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट एक डिपार्टमेंट है या क्रेडिट एनालिस्ट रोल्स है, राइट. इफ यू आर इन इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक देन इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द प्रोजेक्ट, राइट. कोई कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक में इंडस्ट्री वाइज क्लासिफिकेशन रहता है, कोई कोई में डेट इक्विटी. आई स्पोक अबाउट इंडस्ट्री फ्लोर, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग फ्लोर इन द लास्ट वेबिनार. सो अलग अलग सेटअप होता है. सो आई डू नॉट हैव अ डायरेक्ट आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन. How many variants you touch while preparing a report? How much your mind can think out of the box? Yeah, Shraddha. Yeah, absolutely. So variations, कितना queries, मतलब क्या क्या dimensions से सोच सकते हो? So you'll appreciate once you go through my set of stuff, because that's why there's a guy who called me up the other day. He works in Yes Bank in the project finance department, and he was having such high words about the program that I've placed across. So see, guys, how I created the course. मेरा पास में मतलब when I used to be working, I used to literally write down. किसी के पास, क्योंकि ये कोई बुक में मिलता नहीं है और कोई बोलता भी नहीं, बोलना चाहता नहीं है, क्योंकि फिर उसका अपना, वो भी तो इतना साल ये करके ये सब सीखा है, राइट. सो आई यूज्ड टू बी बिहाइंड दैट गाय एंड लिटरली वेटर जैसे रेस्टोरेंट में होता है ना, नोट्स लेता है, तो मैं वैसा नोट्स लेता था और घर में आके उसको टाइप करता था लैपटॉप में अलग से. तो आई हैव एक्यूमुलेटेड those set of stuff over the years from different sources, and that is what I've given to you guys. Matlab, that is you won't find in books and stuff like that. So or that like prompted me to understand कि बॉस क्या 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 डायमेंशन से सोचना पड़ता है. मतलब जब मैं शुरू कर रहा था, फिर ओवर अ पीरियड मी वर्किंग इन दिस स्पेस, तब तो मतलब अभी तो नेचुरली आ जाता है सब कुछ. एमबीए फैंस, इज देयर एनी प्रोग्राम फॉर मी टू स्टार्ट करियर इन बिजनेस? एमबीए फैंस, एनी प्रोग्राम फॉर मी टू स्टार्ट करियर? Prem, as I said, just stay tuned. Akshay, I'm working in CA firm who is into construction finance. So Akshay, absolutely, तो real estate financing ये वाला थोड़ा देखो, ठीक है. फी बिटवीन रेंज, अभी इसको लेके सोचो नहीं श्री. जस्ट एंजॉय द प्रोसेस, राइट. जस्ट लर्न द स्टफ, जस्ट एक्सपोज योरसेल्फ, जस्ट गेट अ फ्लेवर ऑफ व्हाट फाइनेंस इज. मुझे मतलब इफ आई एम एबल टू प्लेस दैट अक्रॉस टू यू गाइस कि फाइनेंस होता क्या है इन द ट्रू सेंस ऑफ द वर्ड, then I think my work is done, right? So guys, it's already 10:40. I hope last time just एक बार इसमें थोड़ा लिख दो if you guys have got value out of this webinar. Just give me a quick yes, guys. Absolutely, Rajat, absolutely, yeah. Great, guys, great. So guys, if you want a financial model from me of project finance, just drop a mail, drop a write up in the section in the Facebook group जहाँ पे आज का वेबिनार के बारे में बोला है. कमेंट सेक्शन में 2 लाइन लिख दो क्या सीखे आज से और आज यहाँ से, और share your email ID and I'll share across a project finance model with you. Right, guys? Chalo, all the best. Good night, and we'll see you in the next webinar. Bye, guys. Bye.